Is there a panel thing?
Right here.
You're a rock star. How's everybody doing? Probably doing better than me. I just got here from Niagara Falls, so excuse me for not having so much energy, but I was literally speaking an hour and a half ago, so you can imagine it took me an hour 28 minutes to get here, so we're good. But how many of you are building a brand? Raise your hand. How many of you want to build a brand? Raise your hand. How many in marketing? Raise your hand. Sales? Raise your hand. Don't know what the hell you're doing in life? Raise your hand. Okay, it should be way more than that, that's for sure. Okay, guys, so we're going to talk about, I'm going to do it really quick, and then we're going to do Q&A, but 3 things that I think are relevant in life for whatever, if it's technology, if it's chocolate, if it's commerce, whatever it is storytelling, authenticity, and energy. Those are the 3 things that each one of you have access to. You don't need expertise for any of them. You could just be yourself, you could share out loud, and you could have good vibes to do each one of them. So, who am I? I'm Jake, I'm 31, as Steve was telling you. I am the same person, hopefully in person, as I am on social media, and as I am when I'm speaking. I've failed in business twice already. I failed school dramatically. I couldn't get into U of T, which is beautiful. I actually did 1 summer course here. I got 37%, I think it was. It's really hard, so if any of you graduated from here, congratulations. I studied to be an actuary to prove to people that I was smart. I failed miserably doing that, but I had 3 years at Western where I had the time of my life. I partied like a degenerate. I met a ton of people. Some of my board members and my investors came from those experiences. But when I was 21 years old, I applied to every investment banking job in Canada, every financial modeling job in Canada, insurance, you name it. Not one accepted me past the first interview, not one. So when I was faced with no job and tons of uncertainty, I decided to watch Shark Tank. Does anyone watch that show? Raise your hand. Dragon's Den, same thing. And I saw an entrepreneur. He was pitching his dream, and he was so fired up. He was so energized. And I looked at this guy, and I said, I need the drugs that this guy's on. And I've never done a drug in my life, by the way. No judgment if you do drugs. But it's just not my thing. But I saw this guy, and he was on drug of life. He was so happy. He was excited. He was energized because he was living passionately for what he does. And that moment I decided to be an entrepreneur, I dropped out of actuarial science. I said, screw it. I was done trying to fit into the job that I didn't want to do in my life. And I started my first business, which was a fitness business, did very well in it, closed it down, through a second business, which was throwing parties on college campuses across Canada, failed miserably, went bankrupt on that business. My ex-girlfriend broke up with me, was depressed and unhappy and feeling very alone. And my sister and brother-in-law approached me and said, do you want to join a chocolate bar company? And I looked at them and I said, what the hell do you mean by a chocolate bar company? They said, we're going to build the next biggest snacking company in the world. And I looked at them with utter disbelief, but they were so delusional. They had so much momentum, so much energy that I was like, I need to be around that. And we launched Midday Squares in 2018 in that condo kitchen. Fast forward to today, I'm proud to say that we make over 130,000 bars a day from 50 bars 6.5 years ago. We have a community of 600,000 people. We are leading our category in Canada. We are number 2 in the United States, and we've sold over 50 million bars. But why is that relevant to you guys? Not because I love chocolate, not because hopefully you love chocolate, but because what I apply to Midday Squares applies to every one of you in this room, and it will work. And that's the idea of standing out. How do you stand out from the crowd in one of the most noisy worlds that we live in today? How do you break through the noise? How do you make people want to buy, invest, believe in what you're doing? And that's simple. We live in a world that I believe is attention. It's the attention economy. Everyone's trying to capture attention. No matter what you're doing in your life, you're trying to get someone's attention. Even in marriage, even in relationships, we're all competing for attention. But 15 years ago, all you had to do was spend money. All you had to do was put up ads, TV ads, newspaper ads, commercials. All you had to do is have a lot of capital, and you were able to force people to pay attention. Today, you can't do that. Internet and social media has democratized attention. It's given it back to you and I as consumers, meaning we don't need to look at billboards and say that's the product we want to buy. We can control with our phone, the snap of our finger, if we want to unsubscribe, block, change the channel, delete. It's your choice. So what that does is it actually puts small businesses and large businesses on the same playing field for the first time in history. And this is exciting for all of us in this room. It doesn't matter if you have a $100 million business or a $50,000 business. It's not about how much you spend to get people's attention. It's how well can you storytell to get the attention of the consumer, because attention is now up to somebody else. It's not up to how many dollars you spend, which is super exciting. And we utilize that at Midday Squares to build our brand. So, how many of you share your story on social media here? Raise your hand. What do you share? You're writing? What platforms? Substack. I've never been on that. Anyone else on Substack? Sharing their story? Who doesn't share their story? Raise your hand. Why not?
I really value my data privacy. I'm just that geeky guy.
Oh no, you're cool. You're cool. That's cool not to share your data. Anyone else? Yeah, yes, sir. Why not? Are you building a business? No? Will you let me convince you to share your story? Will you let me try to convince you? Maybe? I try. Okay, let's try it, guys. Okay, so storytelling. Storytelling is how we've communicated as humans for the last thousands of years. As long as we've had our ancestors, they've been communicating through storytelling. So it is baked into our DNA. It's hardwired into our DNA to share stories with each other. It's how we actually communicate everything in life. It's how we talk to our partner in life. It's how we watch a Netflix series and then share it with our friends and say, did you see what happened? When you watch a TikTok video and you watch an entrepreneur and she's pitching her dream, you then buy her product because you trust her after she shared her story. Storytelling's everywhere. It's everywhere in our life. It's happening right now as we speak. It happens 24/7. So as a business, it is a unique tool to have the ability to tell a story to connect with your consumers. For us, we're selling a chocolate bar. It's a commodity. At the end of the day, somebody can figure out how to make it. Somebody could probably make it better than us. But at the end of the day, they cannot copy how we make people feel. Because that is the one thing that's actually different, is the millions of experiences that we as a brand have had, that you have had as a brand, that you have had as an individual. That's what makes us different in this world. It is not necessarily just the product. Yes, there's innovative and patents and all that stuff that will make you different. And that is a protection source. But at the end of the day, your story is the easiest tool you have that literally separates everyone from this room. Because what you've experienced, your adversities and your successes and your adversities and your successes are automatically different, even from your sibling. So storytelling is an easy way to emotionally connect. And once you emotionally connect, you have an ability to actually communicate your message or sales to the individual. Because people control what they see today with data privacy and all that stuff, if you can get an ad to them, they need to opt into wanting to see your stuff. If they don't, they're gonna unsubscribe and block you and never see you again. Because if I told you about my chocolate bar every day of your life, and you saw midday square, 6 grams of protein, 4 grams of fiber, you would switch it off. Because why does that matter in your life? It really doesn't. At the end of the day, you're on social media, typically for entertainment, education, or connectivity. And telling you we got 6 grams of protein and 4 grams of fiber and it tastes delicious is irrelevant to your life. It is completely irrelevant. What's not irrelevant, though, is if I tell you about therapy and our family business and how we're building it and how we're struggling and how we're winning. That makes it like, I want to know more about it. I want to be on the roller coaster ride with you. So when we started this business, we took out our iPhones. My 2 partners are introverts. I'm an extrovert a little bit. And we basically started filming the whole thing, good, bad, ugly. And what did it do? It started to get awareness. It started to sell more product. It started to have a relationship with our consumers. Next thing you know, you have media outlets covering you. Next thing you know, you have retail partners giving you a chance to sell in their stores. Next thing you know, you have an investor coming in saying, I want to meet you. That's what we did. We used the product market fit from our product. We parlayed that with a story that helped us create an emotional connection with our customers. At the end of the day, that was the only way we had a chance. Where there's a store with 40,000 products, we had 1 item out of the 40,000. The only way we stood out was if we made our consumers feel like they were part of our community. If we made them feel part of our base. If they were friends of ours. And how did we do that? We just told them the story of how we're building this business. Good, bad, and ugly. Quickly before I know we have to skip on things, we don't have much time, but these are just great examples. The second most important thing, other than storytelling, is this must be parlayed with storytelling, is authenticity. As good as social media is, it has a very negative side to it. And that's the negative side of perfection. Typically on social media, brands or individuals are typically showing the good, only the perfect. Everything's smooth sailing, everything's happy, everything's jolly. We're in St. Bart's on vacation every day of the year. It's bullshit. And what that does with consumers or individuals is it distances you from the brand. When a customer experience message is literally the most perfect message to your issue and doesn't get to it, you get fed up. I fly with an airline every week. I sometimes send in an issue and I get these literally copy-pasted messages. It makes me wild. But if they were just transparent, they're just vulnerable and real, I'd feel closer to that brand and want to stay closer to them. It's very simple. This is the future currency of all marketing. Doesn't matter what industry you're in. Everyone wants to be around people that are human and that are authentic. Same thing goes with your friend group. Same thing goes with the people you hire in your life. Authenticity is the greatest thing a human has. So as you tell your story and you are hopefully acting unapologetically yourself, I leave you this last thing before Q&A. The graph on the side is my favorite graph. When I learned this, my whole life changed. I think I learned it from a professor in stats. Not 100% sure. But basically, average decisions is basically you just going out and being like everybody else. So not being authentic, not following your gut. Literally following the herd because it seems safer. Average decisions input will lead to an average outcome, meaning that your average input, average outcome, straight line. When you look at the points, no outliers. Beautiful, goes up over time, linear. Now let's go to the bottom graph. Now you make unaverage decisions, just be yourself unapologetically. Lose it in life, have fun, be a child. Be yourself what you actually want to do. Hopefully you're kind and don't be an asshole. But if you are kind and you live yourself unapologetically, you will have unaverage outcomes. Because statistically, if you're inputting on average, you have to have unaverage output. Meaning you will have points that are up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down. And over time, that's a zigzag. Hideous, ugly, terrible. But if you take those points that are on the bottom, that considered L's, failures, losses, whatever you want to call them, they're actually opportunities to win. So it's always a W, because when you lose, fail in a business, get rejected from a job, don't get your funding, lose half your business, have to lay off everybody, all these shitty moments, heartbroken. If your life, you ever been heartbroken, it's the best thing ever. Not for everybody, but I learned a lot when I was that. It always led to a win right after, because I learned something that not everyone gets to learn in life. Great example, COVID-19, 70% of our sales gone. Snap a finger, retail sales gone. We had two options. Play defense or play offense. Every company in our industry at the time, I'd say 90%, were playing defense, pulling back spend. We decided to be unapologetic in our way, and we spent all the money we had. All the money in the bank account, and we went on offense. Why? Because it was on average. It was true to what we wanted to do. We went out, we went to every hospital, and we basically said, can we feed you? And what they said is yes. And what that did is it kept our team employed. It created momentum within our company. And last but not least, it ended up blowing up our business that year with the highest growth. We raised a ton of money. We launched a new flavor, and we launched in the United States. And we ended up winning that year. And the reason why is because we made an unaverage decision. So guys, 2 things before Q&A. Tell your story every day loud and proud. You don't know who's sitting in this room or listening to a podcast. It could be one person. Tell your story with your passion, because that person can change your life. It's happened to me twice. I'm not gonna share those stories. One was with a government official, and one was raising capital. Just share my story and my life changed. Second, be yourself unapologetically, because no one could be you, no one could be you, and no one could be me. Thank you, everybody. Rock on.